missing so far, who was the fellow who headed Iraq's air defenses, the Iraqi Air Force, and 3 others. So the deck is now down to 40.
What Air Force?
That's what I want. That's why I pointed
Air
that
Force?
out. Yeah, the Iraqi Air Force, Iraqi Air Defenses, man. So it's now down to 42, with 3 of the original 55 having been killed as well.
Hey, what was the deal with those 51 MiGs they found hidden out in the desert somewhere?
Well,
Read about that?
Oh, yeah. But I'm assuming it was just part of the thing that this gentleman was controlling.
Well, why weren't they flying them around?
Well, why did they take it in 1991? Remember, they flew them all one way, east, over into Iran to protect the thing, to protect them from all getting destroyed.
Right.
So I assume that's just more of the same.
Right.
Baghdad engineer says the Iraqi capital is now getting 25 to 30% of its usual electricity supply, so many parts are going through long periods of brownout because of this continued low power supply, demand exceeding supply, and they just don't get any power. Search teams hunting for signs of missing 91 Gulf War pilots. Speaking of that, Scott Spiker have found a clue in Baghdad. U.S. officials telling NBC News that initials were scratched into a prison cell wall in Iraq's capital city. The initials MSS. They say the finding doesn't indicate his current location or if he's still alive. He's been missing since Operation Desert Storm when his aircraft was shot down. Latest on SARS, another 125 people came down with severe acute respiratory syndrome in China. China announcing that 4 more have died. A health ministry spokesman told reporters that most of those affected in the new group came from Beijing. China's national number of SARS infections has ballooned now to better than 2,400, and the death toll there has climbed to about 110. 250 or so have died worldwide. There are some 39 known cases of SARS in the United States and no deaths in this country resulting from them.
Rather ugly incident in my office yesterday.
What?
I was sitting there talking to Francesa, who, by the way, said, I don't know if you witnessed this or not, but gave me a big hug.
Oh, I saw that. I mean, that was just well, whatever. Didn't you?
What?
Well, there was just no sincerity. It was so phony and it was staged. It was almost choreographed to a certain extent.
Well, what do you mean? It was just me and Francesa in there.
I know. But his need to convince himself that you and him are buddies is so pathetic at this point. And this goes back to the whole Donnie thing in the newsroom. But listen, you can, if you want to continue to play that game with him, that's fine. I know the real deal, man. I know the real deal.
You are just, it's frightening how delusional he is, Charles.
Oh, I'm a little concerned about a hug myself.
Kind of on Sid's side on this.
Well, what? What are you concerned about?
Well, that almost does sound as though, it's disturbing just in itself, but that he's trying a little too hard.
Well, if I don't
to convince you of his affection for you. I mean, it's kind of like, he's pushing his weight. That's not good. He's pushing he's going so far into the direction to demonstrate that Sid, is what we all know he is. And but it's trying too hard.
No, it's not. If it was sometime for you and I don't see each other for a while, you give me a big hug, don't you?
Well, sometimes.
Okay. It's the same situation.
Well, but I mean, it usually comes after like an extended vacation or something.
But I miss Charles and Francesa. I miss two different things.
How could you compare your 100-year relationship with Charles to this superficial, nonsensical relationship you have with Mike in the afternoon?
It's a very good
Something phony about it.
And you're being suckered, man.
Oh, you really are.
No doubt.
Well, it just, come on. If you can't see this is...
Yeah, in fact, there were people in the newsroom yesterday in the afternoon going, hey, when's Donnie coming back to work? When are we going to see Donnie? How's Donnie feeling today? Donnie.
Our summer program. Yankees won again last night, beat Anaheim 9-2.
How about those starters? They are now 16-0, man.
This is ridiculous.
They're 18-3 overall. The starters have not lost a game yet. That's incredible.
The Red Sox, however, lost to the Texas Rangers.
Yes, they did. So they are now 4 games. The Red Sox are playing well, man. They're 14-7, but they're still 4 back of the Yankees because the Yankees are unbeatable. Yeah. And how about if you're the Kansas City Royals?
Well, what would that answer be?
That perhaps he is attracted to Lou.
Lou's pretty cute.
Now that's all.
Lou is cute.
That's all stupid, silly talk. He's clearly not gay. He's shy. There's something wrong. There's some There's something going on. He's part of that crowd of geeks and
But to
dorks
give
out
me
in the newsroom.
the excuse that he had to do laundry when I asked him out, when I had to ask him out,
Right.
and he said, "Oh, I've been on a long trip. I have to go do my laundry."
That is not good.
No, it's not.
No,
you go out and buy some underwear or turn them inside out.
That's an admission of some kind of problem.
Maybe he's not attracted to you, Janice.
Well,
That could
that's
be.
perhaps it.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Turn them inside
Or he's afraid of women.
Although he did tell me that he was attracted to you.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he felt under pressure with
I
you.
don't think he did.
Because I don't think he's going to come out and tell you the real reason.
Well, no, he would.
You'd have to do some probing.
Maybe he's just insecure. Maybe, he's just,
That's what it
he's a
is.
little nervous and, probably hasn't gone out all that much. He works hard. Mike and Chris work him like a slave, by the way.
You got guys like Mike and Chris coaching him.
Right, exactly.
Both of whom you can count on one hand the number of women they've kissed. God.
No, and it's true, they get very excited on their program when they have something else to talk about other than the sports.
Oh, a woman. Oh, my God.
Well,
This newsroom's culture out here is one of
Dysfunction.
troubling.
pathetic testosterone-laden.
Sad.
Yeah. Well,
You got Chris looking at the computer, looking at a pitch-by-pitch thing about the San Francisco Giants yesterday. Carlin, how can we get this up on the computer? I can see a pitch-by-pitch. I couldn't even make that up.
Boston Celtics beat Indiana last night.
I wants to watch
I
a
said.
pitch-by-pitch.
That's correct, man. Boston did win. They now take a 2-game-to-1 lead in that best-of-7 series.
Go see the sun outside. God.
What happened with the Lakers and the Timberwolves, incidentally?
Well, Kevin Garnett, another fantastic ball game last night. Troy Hudson played well again, man, and even though the refs did the best they could to screw the Timberwolves last night, the T-Wolves got the win at the Staples Center where the Lakers had won 15 in a row, and now the T-Wolves have a 2-game-to-1 lead.
And the Nets went to Milwaukee, and the Nets won.
And the Nets won. That's exactly. They had a huge lead, man. They went up by as many as 19 in the second quarter. In fact, Mike Breen did the game last night with Danny Ainge and Jeff Van Gundy and did a terrific job at that. And the Nets almost blew that one last night, blew the 19-point lead, but Rodney Rogers hits a shot with 2 seconds left, and the Nets hold on to go up 2-2.
I'll be darned.
Pretty exciting stuff, isn't it?
Oh, just great. Coming up tonight, of course, will be the Detroit Pistons at Orlando,
That's
San
right.
Antonio at Phoenix, Dallas at Portland. There's not one of those games that I would watch. Not one. God, they suck. But the Yankees are on tonight, and the Red Sox play as well, I think. So.
And plus, there's also, don't forget, man, there's NHL playoffs that you may find yourself watching tonight.
Get out of the studio.
Okay, great, thanks.
Paul Begala coming up 28 after the hour.
My name is what?
Excuse me.
Who? My name is Imus in the morning.
Buy your next car for $5.
Loving a rambunctious child, and so which is what he is.
All right. Okay.
Oh, you're just a moron. All right, please welcome now the former, we don't know, we were trying to figure out what he would have been in the deck of thugs of the Clinton administration had we found it necessary to overthrow them, but we didn't. But he was certainly a very close aide to Bill Clinton, and he and James Carlin, in fact, handled the former president's campaign and got him elected, and now he's hosts, what?
The way he has stuck to his message, he's kind of would maybe like be the information minister of Baghdad.
Like Baghdad Bob.
Baghdad Bob.
Yeah. But we love the guy because I don't know why we love him because he is loyal.
Yep.
And he's a very decent human being. And he articulates no position that we agree with.
But he does it as a stand-up guy.
Yeah. So he hosts Crossfire on CNN, and he teaches something at some university, and he writes a bunch of stuff.
He does.
And he writes best-selling books.
Yep.
And please welcome now to the program Paul Begala. Good morning, Mr. Begala.
Good morning, Mr. Begala. I mean, Mr. Imus, I've got a
You really are a moron.
Oh, I'm not a morning guy, man. I got a suggestion, though, which card Bernard might be. I heard earlier he suggested I could be the Joker, which really was stunningly original. I think Bernie, though, Bernie could be the King of Hearts. You look at it carefully, he's the guy sticking an enormous sword into his head. I think that would be a particularly auspicious one for Mr. McGurk. So how are you doing?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I am good, thanks.
Every time you mention my name on Crossfire, aside from seeing it pop up on Nexus Lexus, I do get a number of calls. I don't know what that means, but...
Well, that's a good sign. I've now begun occasionally crediting you when I steal your material.
I see.
Not always consistent about it, but I thought your question was great, right? There's the reason we haven't found weapons of mass destruction in Iraq yet, simply because they haven't arrived yet from CIA headquarters. FedEx is kind of slow right now. They'll get there eventually.
Well, I originally got that thought from Mike Francesa, the sports guy. I was talking to him one day, and I said, do you think they'll find any weapons over there? And he looked at me, he just laughed. He said, if they have to FedEx them in there, they'll find them. So, how important, on a serious note, how important is it we find this Neuv gas or these weapons of mass destruction?
Very, very important. Post facto now, the president and the right wing has shifted the rationale for the war. Now they say, well, the war was to liberate the Iraqi people. And I'm all for that. It's wonderful to see the Iraqis are free. No longer is the government of Saddam Hussein cutting their heads open with knives. Now they're free to cut their own heads open with knives. But the point of the war was supposed to be that he threatened us. He had a mighty war machine and weapons of mass destruction. Well, he couldn't hold his own capital for 3 weeks, and he didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Or if he did, he just didn't use them because he's such a nice guy. That's the case now that Bush is going to have to make.
Well, maybe, Paul, because he knew we were coming, maybe he got rid of them and gave them to someone else to hold for him.
Maybe, but if he had them, look, we don't know. We'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once they find the FedEx box. But if he had them, that's a possibility. But which is more likely? He says, the Americans are coming. Quick, let me take these weapons of mass destruction and give them away. Or let me use them so I can actually stand up and fight a war. I mean, if he is the brutal thug that we now know him to be, and that our president rightly said he was, he would have used them. He used his chemical weapons against Iran when Donald Rumsfeld was over there meeting with him, kissing his ring. He's perfectly capable of gassing people. He's a moral monster. But the intelligence all said he didn't have it. Bush kept saying that they did. Today's New York Times, they quote a senior administration official saying, well, no, maybe he just had the chemical precursors, which Ronald Reagan gave him anthrax in 1986. We know that.
Yeah.
And so maybe they never had any weapons. This is the administration's officials now saying that.
But we do know that their plan was, we think, was to try to hold off the United States long enough and get us bogged down there, and rally the sentiments of all of the various Arab countries and other countries in the world, and they would have lost all of that. Even France and Germany, had they used any weapons of mass destruction, so they really were in. Even if they had them, they were between a rock and a hard place. And
so why have to go to war? If they've got them and they won't use them, that's as good as them not having them. The war was predicated on the rationale that Saddam Hussein posed a threat to America. Now, the president never said he'd roll tanks up Fifth Avenue, but they said, he's got these chemical weapons. He's going to give them to Al-Qaeda, or he's going to launch them against America. Or he kept trying to tie it to 9/11, which I found particularly odious as someone who lost friends on that day. Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11, and the bastard who did is still running around there free 800 days after Bush said, I want him dead or alive.
But we don't know, really, though, Paul, to be fair, whether, in fact, he did give any of this stuff to any of these terrorists, and if he did, and if it can sometime at some point be demonstrated that he gave some of these weapons or some of this nerve gas or some of the stuff that we know at one point did exist, I mean, the UN inspectors even said it did, then that would, you could interpret that as at least an indirect threat to this country.
I think you could. Yes, and that's the most valid point that the president made. But it was just speculation, and the CIA kept saying, according to these leaks, gee, we don't have any proof he's done that, and common sense tells you that the last person Saddam Hussein is going to give chemical weapons to are radical Islamist fundamentalists who hate him as much or more than they hate us. I mean, he'd be the first guy they'd use him on because he's in their neighborhood, and he'd been suppressing the Shiites and other religious folks in Iraq for decades. So that's why he had good reasons, self-interested, prudential reasons, not to arm Al-Qaeda because they were as great a threat to him as they are to us.
20 minutes till the hour, we're talking with Paul Begala from CNN. You know what I was thinking the other night? Of course, I've had pneumonia, but I'm over that now. But
it's not this SARS thing. I know. It's just coincidental that you happen to be in Beijing for the last 2 weeks.
Could have explained my thinking. But anyway, I was thinking, I voted for McCain in this last election.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking how unfair this whole election was and how bad you and many of your other people must feel. Because Al Gore, I mean, I don't know if you've ever thought about this or not, but you know Al Gore actually did get more votes than Bush. You do know that, right?
And no, I have not gotten over it. Karl Rove, my friend, as president and chief political strategist, keeps saying that you guys haven't gotten over it. Well, duh. I mean, you know, this is not like just, we keyed your car while we were drunk at the bar. No, they stole the election.
Yeah.
And I love, Carl gave a speech last week where he said...
You must just feel awful, don't you?
Well, actually, for me, professionally, it's been great. It's easier to play offense than defense. I don't think I would have written a book about it. Gore's economic policies destroying America and seen it go to a bestseller. Though selfishly, Bush being in there is great for me.
Yeah. Well, I even called Charles. I said, don't you really feel bad for Begala? And he said, I was actually sitting here weeping, didn't you, Charles?
Copiously.
Well, I appreciate that. No, but I do love this notion that the White House puts out that even Democrats secretly come up to them in the grocery store and say, look, I'm really glad that your guy won. As if the smarter and more experienced guy would have done a worse job. That's their theory, and I don't buy it.
You're from Texas. Are you ashamed that the president's from Texas?
Ashamed, embarrassed, chagrined, disgusted.
Mortified.
What are they going to arrest me now? Because there's a burn my books? What that woman said was the heart of free speech. And for these corporate thugs at Clear Channel Communications to be kicking them off of their station. By the way, they're still number one. I bought 3 of that CD home. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's great Texas music.
Yeah.
Better than the first 2.
Right.
It's less overproduced. It's cleaner. And, they don't have to be Winston Churchill. They're American citizens. They're free to speak their mind, and they ought to be able to do so without having this kind of absurd overreaction. You know what it's like? It's like North Korea. Everybody who supports Bush kind of knows in their bones that he's kind of our Kim Jong-il, sort of the befuddled, ne'er-do-well son of the former leader. And so we know he's not quite up to the job. And so we overreact. Any criticism of the beloved leader, they must be hanged, they must be in prison, they must be silenced.
Of course, your position is so ludicrous that it's almost akin to Natalie Main's position, and the point is it doesn't have anything to do with free speech. They were in London. They made a patronizing, condescending, insulting remark only intended to ingratiate themselves with a crowd that they already knew, 90% of whom opposed not only the president but to Bush. They didn't articulate a reasonable position opposing the war, suggesting that maybe there might be a better way to do it with inspections or whatever. They weren't even aware of that. But the problem that a lot of people have with them, including me, is that they didn't do it in Dallas because they are cowards and they don't have enough guts to go to the Astrodome or wherever and say what they said to a crowd of people there, or in Cleveland or in San Francisco or anyplace else. And 2, they're now lying about what they did. So that's the problem. Well, it's not a free speech issue. Of course they have a right to say what they want to say.
They're country singers. They're not Richard Holbrooke giving a lecture at the Council on Foreign Relations. But I just don't think it's very odd. And as a Texan, I love our president. He's a lovely man. Every time I see him on television giving a speech, I want to hide under the covers. And I didn't feel that way about Ronald Reagan. I opposed Ronald Reagan just as vigorously. But, I saw him and I was proud. And I see this guy and I just cringe. I'm sorry.
Well, no, but you're still not addressing the point, Paul, and don't make us come to wherever you are and beat the hell out of you. The point is that they're lying about what they did, and they're now trying to rationalize this insulting remark they made when they simply should have just apologized. If they want, or they should have said, we are embarrassed.
That's right. No, there you're right. They didn't say anything. They didn't criticize our troops. They didn't criticize our anything. I mean, all they said was the president. They're embarrassed at the president from their home state. Gee, nobody from Arkansas ever said that, when Clinton was president. And when they did, oh, my God, the right wing all went crazy then and somehow impugned their patriotism. It was a simple, I thought rather obvious statement. And for that, they get this unending grief. It's nuts. And I think the overreaction is indicative of the deep insecurity that the right has about Bush, because they know in their bones, too.
But isn't part of our democracy, it isn't part of free speech, the ability and the opportunity to react they have the ability to make these statements and the right to, and then they have to accept and the responsibility for that they are going to generate these kinds of reactions, and on these kinds of reactions are not all going to be responsible, which is the reason we had a kid go to a high school or whatever, junior high school yesterday, and shoot a principal and then shoot himself.
Well, but no, I was with you until you got into violence. They do have to understand that when they enter the public square, they're going to pay a price. The same way that, Charlton Heston on the right or other conservative actors have in their careers. I admire that. I like anybody who speaks out on political issues. It's what I do for a living. And I like when amateurs, when athletes, when actors, when they get into it too. I think it's good. And on the right and the left, they pay a price, and that's true, and I think it's regrettable. But no, they shouldn't be responsible for They shouldn't have to then endure death threats or
No, they shouldn't. But they have to be aware that that's going to happen. They have to be aware that potential exists, because there are evil people in the world, and there are a number of evil people, as evidenced by, well, the people who were in your administration. There are evil people on the planet, and evil people are going to do evil things. And you can say whatever you want to say, but you do have to understand that some horrible son of a bitch is going to threaten your grandmother, which is reprehensible and awful.
That's called blaming the victim.
Well, no, I understand that, but I mean,
that there are these people who might be incited.
You can't be naive about what the reaction is going to be from some inflammatory, gutless, cowardly statement that you make when you're in London. Wouldn't it have been better had they shown some guts and made this same statement in Dallas?
Oh, I'd go to Colorado Street in Austin, Texas, for the governor's mansion. I guess he's not there anymore. I'd go to Pennsylvania Avenue and say it. I say it every night on CNN. But if it's true that this kind of thing could set off unstable people, how much more important is it for corporate actors, not 25-year-old pop singers or country singers, but for one of the giant corporations of the media, Clear Channel Communications, to be prudent in how they whip up this kind of remarkable overreaction?
Well, have you been reading the business section of the New York Times lately, or the New York Post, or any of these things on the ethics and morality of the business community in Wall Street? No. Of course you're going to. I mean, we know why they did that. So
I thought Bush brought in the era of responsibility. I thought this was the new era that our president. He's an MBA president. He's cleaned up corporate practices, hasn't he?
No, Terry McAuliffe is your guy.
I love Terry McAuliffe.
Mrs. Bush did make $100,000 from investing 15 cents in cattle futures.
Well, no, but actually, President Bush's father, quite ethically, made about as much money as Terry McAuliffe, maybe more, in the same company that Terry McAuliffe invested in. There's nothing wrong with it. It's called capitalism.
We don't need to bring that up. It's 12 minutes till the hour here in the Army City Morning Program. Have they moved your guys' show? What's the deal?
They have. We're out of 7 o'clock hour. We are now on 4:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 1:30 for our friends on the Pacific Coast.
Yeah.
It's not the best news I ever got. I mean, it could be worse. I mean, it's not like being bumped out of the 6 a.m. slot on MSNBC, for example, but it could be worse.
Yeah, we're really concerned about that. We have 12 million radio listeners, and 200,000 people were watching us on MSNBC.
Well, that's kind of a difference.
It's ruined our career.
We have actually 0 radio listeners on Crossfire. But here's the good of it. It's 2 things. Professionally, it's only been a week, but I have loved being the second half of an hour with Judy Woodruff in Inside Politics. I think she's as good as I've seen in the business. She's fantastic, and her show is really good. For Crossfire to follow that, I think makes sense. And also, personally, I'm home for dinner. I'm home for Little League games, which I haven't been for 2 years because I was working nights. So, there's the way Carl put it. He said, let me put it this way. We're going to be following Judy Woodruff. We're going to get paid the same and do half the work, and you bitching about it, Paul? You're crazy.
That's a pretty good impression of him, by the way. That's a great impression. That's a very impressive impression
it works
of
at
our
his
friend
bank as well. It works at his bank. You can call up and say, hey, this is James. I need you to wire $10,000 to follow an account. It works like a charm. I hope he's not listening.
All right, my friend. Nice to have you on. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Hyman.
Paul Begala from CNN here in the Army Morning Program. It's 11 till the hour. Talk to you now.
I tell you, that is a bitter, bitter man.
I love him.
Absolutely. But he, this is going to go right with him to the grave. He will never, ever be able to get over it.
Oh, Al Gore did get more votes,
Oh, but I mean,
still lost fair and square.
He is, and Mr. Begala, my goodness. God bless him. He just cannot deal.
He got more votes. He should be president.
He didn't get more electoral votes.
Well,
true enough.
I don't know about that either. So,
it's a fact.
I really feel bad for Begala, frankly.
Bless his
all
heart.
those people. Don't you? Don't you, Sid?
No, I don't care that much about it.
Well, but I mean, you hate to see a guy just eaten up.
No, I like that. I kind of like that, actually.
I just hate to see him just get screwed like that, like they did. It's just awful.
Oh.
Don't you think?
No, I don't really think that.
It's a travesty.
I just really feel bad. And that guy should be president, but of course he's not, is he?
No.
4 minutes till the hour.
Imus in the morning.
General George S. Patton Jr. and Tom Friedman have hooked up together to kick some Iraqi ass. Well, Tom Friedman, of course, writes on the op-ed page of the New York Times on the Foreign Affairs desk, the winner of 3 Pulitzer Prizes, suggesting that we need to kick some ass over there. It was fairly forceful from a distinguished figure, as
shoot some
Friedman
looters.
obviously is. Huh?
Shoot some looters.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, that's what he said.
Yes.
Yeah, he'd be the first one hammering the military as soon as that happens.
And then, calm down. Then Iraqi and Bullwinkle, and then from The Sopranos, Michael and Imperioli. Did you know that he wrote? Well, we know he writes a bunch of The Sopranos episodes.
Yeah.
Do you know he wrote Summer Sam with Spike Lee?
No.
That's a pretty talented guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is.
Well, he's been in 100 movies.
Very bright man. And a terrific actor. My gosh.
Well, he's either a terrific actor or he is, in fact, a junkie.
Yeah, it's
one of the two.
Either typecast or I don't know.
A junkie and a lowlife, the one he plays on the show.
I just don't know anything about acting, so we'll find out from him. Now, we had a couple of firefighters on the other day, and from engine company. What was it, Bernie? 361? No, 31.
I forget. So it's our local firehouse.
Anyway, there's going to be a public safety rally on Sunday, this Sunday, at 1 p.m. at Borough Hall in Brooklyn. And you can join community members, leaders, elected officials to protest the closing of these various firehouses. And as the firemen pointed out, they're not going to lose their jobs, but, for example, the Kaufman Studios, where our studios are, the response time for if something happens there will be practically double, won't it, Charles?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're going to rebuild Iraq and close down our own firehouse.
Yeah.
Maybe a good point. Of course, you know, I'm sort of pro-police and firefighters, you might imagine, but anyway, there'll certainly be an opportunity to support firefighters, and it would be idiotic to go into what they've done for this city and this country. So,
God, no kidding.
We need to reiterate that. But anyway, that's what you should do.
By the way, Jim Miklashevsky has phoned in along with Andrea Mitchell.
Well, let's take Miss Mitchell. Who was first?
Jimbo reached the finish line first this morning.
Okay, well then let's go to him first. Here from the Pentagon is Jim Miklashevsky. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Don. I would gladly defer to Andrea if you want to go there first.
Well, all right, we'll do that then.
Sure.
Fine.
Okay. And how long are we going to keep this open, till Monday or something?
Till Monday, correct.
All right, please welcome now to the Imus in the Morning program, the aforementioned Michael Imperioli. Good morning, Mr. Imperioli.
Good morning, Don. How are you?
We're here in the Imus in the Morning program. You know, time for the national news, world events, and all that sort of thing, sponsored by the Oral-B 3D XL toothbrush from Gillette. I do want to remind you that Imus Ranch Foods is sponsored by Mohegan Sun as well, and you can buy from Imus Southwest salsa, turquoise buffalo tortilla chips, Imus Brothers coffee, and coming soon, Imus Ranch dressings, which are fabulous. A ranch dressing, a Caesar, and a balsamic vinaigrette that are unbelievable, Charles.
No kidding. Well, that's terrific, man.
95% organic, all natural, of course. And just the ranch and Caesar, delicious. And pour it on your thing.
All right.
But anyway, all profits after taxes, 100% of the profits after taxes.
Yep.
From the sale of all Imus Ranch food products go directly to the Imus Cattle Ranch for Kids with Cancer. Then you can buy the salsa chips and coffee at Graciti's, Demoulas, Market Basket, Big Y Supermarket, Stop and Shop.
Beautiful.
ShopRite. Yeah. Stores all over the place. Well, I got a letter here from Brad Newman, who is a producer for The Pulse, which is a program on Fox News.
Yeah.
To Mr. Imus, I'm sure you know Bill O'Reilly is a fan of yours and has enjoyed being on your show. He's now hoping you'll return the favor and consider appearing with him on The Pulse, a news magazine show that airs on Thursday nights on Fox's deal. In addition to his duties on the Factor and the Radio Factor, Bill also contributes to the news magazine, interviewing guests for a segment entitled Factor This. He believes this would be a perfect setting for a conversation about your long and whatever.
Well, you can't do that, though. You're screwed.
What?
You can't do that. You're screwed. Aren't you? How do you do that?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you've said you're not going to go on anything, and particularly would go on nothing before you would have to do a show with Tim Russert.
The CNBC show.
Yeah, the CNBC show.
Right.
So
which is the reason why Russert agreed to come back on this program.
Absolutely.
Right.
And now, boy, you have put yourself in a hell of a position. Huh? I mean, you have to think that. Well, I mean, Mr. O'Reilly's been very, very cooperative in coming on this program, and
Very
a big
available.
fan, and
Very what?
Very available.
yeah,
Loves the I-Man, comes on,
absolutely.
yucks it up. You call him a bleep hole, and the guy's back on
He
a
still
week
came
later.
back. Right.
Yeah.
What a sport.
Good guy, Mr. O'Reilly.
Well, that's the way I feel. So,
Well, yeah. So now, now what have you done,
well, I just don't see any problem
Mr.
with me.
Genius?
What?
Mr. Genius? Now what have you done to yourself?
Well, I don't think I've done anything.
How so?
I just don't see any problem with me appearing
Well,
on
when you
this. I mean,
what?
I said I don't see any problem with me returning the favor to Bill.
What are you talking about? You can't.
And simply just not tell Russert.
Oh man.
What are they doing? An episode on SARS?
I mean, what would be wrong with that?
Well, what would be right about it? I mean, ethically.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you're so screwed up. It's ridiculous. You have really painted yourself into a corner. You are in a box.
Maybe I should have a discussion with Russert about this. See what he thinks.
Well, he's not going to be happy.
Well,
But that would be a prerequisite for your...
Well, you would think.
before you agree to do this.
Well, I'm glad. Boy, you are in an untenable position.
well, no, I'm not. I could just do it. And I could just do it. And
Not
if
tell
he asked
him?
me, what?
And not tell Mr. Russert?
Well, no, I would tell him if he asked me.
You just hope that he doesn't notice? Of course he's going
Yeah.
to notice this.
That'd be dishonest, wouldn't it?
Well, of course. You're screwed. No.
Well, I certainly hate to turn down Bill, but
And what happened to your initial position that you were not going on any television program ever again, period? What happened to that? Where'd that go?
well,
Just more empty bluster, clearly.
that still is my position.
What? Well, okay, then you turn everything down.
Yeah. I just
Larry
had a
King.
momentary. What?
Larry King, Tim Russert, Bill O'Reilly, yada yada. You turn them all down. That's it. You're done. Okay.
I just had a momentary thought that because what?
What? What's your moment?
Well, because O'Reilly had been so cooperative in his willingness to appear on the Imus in the Morning program that I should give some consideration to acquiescing to this request. But you're right. I can't.
Mr. Russert hasn't been cooperative in dealing with the I-Man over the years?
The solution clearly is this.
Yeah.
What?
To do the Russert CNBC show
Yeah.
so we can continue to, make our guests happy, have a quid pro quo. They come on here, you
Sure.
go on their shows.
Yeah. I don't want to do that, though.
Well, there you go. See, it
All right.
doesn't square with your original position that you were never going to do another television program as long as you live.
The two of our best guests, Russert and O'Reilly.
You bet.
Well,
Well, this is one you got to come to some sort of solution within yourself.
Well,
You got to examine your soul on this one, I-Man.
well, I have. I mean, I'm going to be honest about it. I just have to tell Mr. Newman that's just not going to happen.
Okay. There you go. Good.
Because I just don't want to be on Russert's show. So I wouldn't mind being on with O'Reilly on this show.
Well, Russ, it's clear it's just a stupid little cable show.
Well, so's this.
No, this is the Pulse. This is Fox, the Fox network, the broadcast network.
Oh, it is?
It's a big show, the Pulse. The thing they rolled out about 6 months ago.
Yes.
8 months ago, Shepard Smith.
That Mr. O'Reilly contributes to.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
The one yeah, exactly. Well, this is huge. This is their 60 Minutes.
Really?
Yeah. But you can't go on it now. As you have you have precluded yourself from this sort of appearance. You can't go on these big time shows or any other kind of show, as far as that's concerned.
Well, of course I can.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I said, of course I can.
Of course you can't.
Well, I didn't realize what kind of show it was. Of course I can.
This is all very different now.
Sheds a completely different light on it. 13 after the hour.
Now, America at war. Here is Imus in Washington, War Room Chief Military Affairs Analyst, the late General George S. Patton, Jr.
At ease, as you were. Men, I am here this morning to announce a major leadership change in the new United States Protectorate known as Iraq. You've seen what's going on there, Private.
Yes, sir. 100 million psychopaths in bathrobes stabbing themselves in their eyeballs for Allah and demanding that we take a hike now that we've freed their backward third world goat-humping, sewage-leaking, dirt-eating country.
Exactly. So clearly, our current leadership structure over there just can't cut it. Therefore, I am announcing that present interim Iraq administrator, General J.M. Garner, is history. And the official George Patton, new interim administrator, is General Thomas L. Friedman, late of the New York Times, and now recipient of a full battlefield commission.
Yay! Excellent!
All right, at ease. Now then, why is this change necessitated? Because General Thomas Friedman is one of the few people, sad to say, who appear to get it. We are the United States of America.
Yeah.
We cut Saddam Hussein's pecker off in 23 days.
Yeah.
You people playing self-inflicted Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the middle of Karbala are Islamic nuts.
Yeah.
If you actually think for one Dixie chick second that you're going to dictate to us, you better put down the hookah pipe.
Undisciplined, deluded deviant, sir.
Right again, Private. And now, some remarks by General Friedman himself, men, from an especially stirring recent appearance with General John Donald Limas.
The thing that, has worried me a little bit is simply the quick withdrawal of the Marines. You sometimes have to have a very symbolic kick-ass force right in people's face on the ground so they don't mess with you.
There, by God. The phrase that pays, boys. Kick ass.
Yeah.
The Washington Post suggests we can't respond to some trash-talking bearded pinheads in nightgowns with frisbees on their noggins talking Islamic fundamentalist government. Excuse me, but does the term J-damn in your navel have any effect on you, Ahmed? I'll tell you who the term ain't lost on, boys. General Friedman.
Sometimes, an occasional use of force, that could have a very important demonstration effect for these people. We could use a little bit more of shock and awe right now on the civilian side of just throwing some bad guys out on their ear and shooting a few looters for people to understand that we mean business on peace as much as we mean on war.
Now then, I might point out, Mustafa, that General Friedman is, at the moment, still calm. I'd suggest you unappreciative, dissatisfied, whining bunch of shower shirkers do not want to piss General Friedman off. Because, Private?
Because of the aforementioned strategy, kick camel ass, sir.
Which, in General Friedman's How to Restrain Raging Ragheads playbook, boils down to...
It's also occasionally very helpful to take someone by the ear and throw them out on the sidewalk and kick their butt halfway down the street for everyone to see, just to remind everybody that, you are nice guys, but you're not that nice.
Or stated another way, if I may, sir, while we may be having a little trouble with the weapons of mass destruction, we got the weapons of ass destruction down cold.
Word to the wise.
And to the mother of all bombs, sir.
Thank you for your insight, Private. That is all.
awuchwayelekile kanjani futhi sensukwini zanamhlanje sibona kwenzeka kanjani amantombazane
She's a rich girl, she don't try to hide it. Diamonds on the soles of her shoes. He's a poor boy, empty as a pocket with nothing to lose. Sing ta-na-na, ta-na-na. She got diamonds on the soles of her shoes. Ta-na-na, ta-na-na. She got diamonds on the soles of her shoes. Diamonds on the soles of the 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 shoes.
Imus in the morning.
My father came from Cuba with very little, and
Here on the Imus Morning program, well, a bid for the trip on NetJet's Citation 10, Cessna Citation 10 to Kentucky. It's being sponsored by the National Thoroughbred Racing Association, NetJets, FAN, so on. Is up to $29,000 now from 27.
Wow. All right.
Bob Thomas, remember Bob Thomas of Bob Thomas Ford in Hamden, Connecticut?
You bet I do, sure.
Bob has ponied up $29,000.
All right.
And, of course, all of the money going to the Imus Cattle Ranch to kids with cancer. And so Bo now is not going, unless he can do better than $29,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bo may not have, Bo may not be able to handle that.
Must have been a tough year.
Maybe a little rich for Mr. Deedle's blood.
All right, here now on the Imus Morning program, Sid Rosenberg.
Morning.
Janice Dean.
Hello.
Fred Imus down in Granbury, Texas.
Hello.
Morning, Fred.
What a shock. That was a shock. What? Whoa.
Hey, how you feeling?
I feel better.
You do? You over
Yeah.
that thing?
Yes, I am.
Hey, how long is MSNBC going to preempt your show?
Until Jesus comes back.
Until you get funny.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, you can't watch it. It's so awful you can't watch it now.
So
I mean, I know they got a bump in the ratings during the war,
Yeah.
but you can't watch it. I mean, it's awful.
So
we
they
have
make,
an update from Bernie?
so they make sure the other brutal tyrant is dead, definitively. You can only focus on one at a time.
I mean, it's absurd, you know? I mean, it's starting to irritate me.
Fred's appearance
And it's, you know, it's starting to irritate a lot of people. You know, I run into a lot of people that watch that show down here.
Yeah.
How many's a lot, Fred?
Well, I bet I've run into 10 people.
That's a lot.
And that's just my very small circle of people I run into.
Right.
You know, I mean, if I was to go out on the street and do a survey, well, let me put it this way. About 90% of the people I run into watch the show.
How many of them are sheep?
And the other 10% think you're Brian David Mitchell.
Fred's appearance sponsored by
Well, I
Tracy
mean, it just irritates me, you know.
Is Chris Carlin in the studio?
yes, he is.
What's going on, dude?
Good morning, Chris.
Morning, man. What's up, man?
Fred, you may not be aware of this, but explain the situation, Sid.
Well, here's the situation. It seems that Janice was willing to date Continent.
Yeah.
And Continent did not go on the date. He had some laundry to do. He had some things to do.
He actually said, I have laundry to do when I asked him out.
This is being misrepresented because you did not ask me
Yes,
out. That's
I
not how
did.
it went down. You were going with Lou and Julie to watch Game 1 of the Islanders.
See, we
Senators
already
after
sound
I
like
got
we're
back to
married.
New Orleans. And I'm basically exhausted. And, let me go to a bar with Janice and Lou and watch the game. Nah, I was sitting on my couch.
See, but if you were crazy about me, you would ignore the fact that you were tired and had laundry to do.
Let me just...
I think you got a problem if somebody would rather do their laundry.
Hey, Chief.
I mean, just the small amount I know about relationships.
What we have here is a love triangle. You have Chris, Janice, and Lou Rufino.
Yes. Do you know this part of the story, Fred?
No, I don't know about Lou getting in on this deal.
We were at a Senators-Islanders game.
Well, there's your problem right
perfect-
there. That's the number one problem you
Perfect
have. Going to a
opportunity.
hockey game and trying to strike up a relationship.
Well, here's the thing, though. I was sitting next to Chris at one point, and then Chris moved to the other side to sit next to Lou.
This is
yes, you
inaccurate.
did. At the Christmas party this year, you danced with Lou instead of dancing
I was dancing with
me.
you. What are you talking? Oh, you are so lost. You know that?
The real
You were
story.
dancing with Lou, Chris?
That's not accurate.
We have
That
pictures.
is not accurate.
Yes, you were like belly
Sounds
butting.
like you got a couple fairy boys there.
You would know.
You ain't never gonna strike up a relationship with a couple fairies.
Let me ask you this, Chris.
Yeah.
Are you attracted to Janice?
Yeah, Janice is definitely attractive. But I never got the impression, though, that she was attracted to me until Mike and Chris were willing to send us to a Broadway show. All of a sudden,
Janice.
oh, yeah, what are we going out? What are we doing?
Look, it's an
Janice.
opportunity, right?
Janice.
Yes, sir.
Are you attracted to Chris?
I think Chris is a very nice man, and yes, I would say that I would be attracted to him, depending
Okay.
on the date that we go on.
I'll take you out for a goof.
Well, what does that mean?
I'll take her out. We'll have a good time. What the hell?
See, I don't want to go out with somebody who
Well, you're not
has
doing
that
anybody
kind
a big favor.
That I wouldn't go out with her.
Sounds like I'd have more in common with my vibrator right now.
Wait a minute.
Janice, I don't
You'll
think you
always
need to
have
get
more
so
in common with that.
disgusting here.
Sorry.
Hey, Janice, is that a mirror in your pocket? Because I think I could see myself in your pants.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Where's that unnecessary?
Well, obviously
How's that going to be helpful, you fat pig?
Hey, you know what
Not
troubles
you, Janice, the Chris.
You know what troubles me more than anything is that Sid is the one who's accusing me this morning of being gay.
Not
Here's a
true.
guy who lives in Chelsea, used to live in Miami Beach, and voluntarily submitted to a, quote, makeover where they made the little of his hair left blonde. And I'm gay. Do the math.
And goes to a tanning salon.
Hold on a
4 times
second.
week.
I never said you were gay. I just raised the question, is it possible when you give up on a girl who will bang you for $1 to do your laundry?
No.
You're an idiot.
No, we don't need to go
I
there
am
with this.
so uncomfortable.
You're all
in my
missing the real
workplace.
story here.
What is the real
Carlin
story?
doesn't want to go out with Janice because he thinks Lou is after her, and he doesn't want to
That's
insult
not true.
his little
I'm
buddy.
actually- I
Am
don't-
I right, Lou?
I know nothing about
Lou is
that.
in this love triangle, and there you have the real story.
I'm a little bit attracted to Lou, I gotta be honest.
Well,
That's all funny
He's a
stuff.
little guy, man.
there's a big
Well,
surprise.
I mean, this is, I don't know.
It's
This
ugly.
Is there a car race this weekend,
Yes,
Fred?
there is. Of course there is, I man.
Where's the car race?
It's in California, Fontana. 2 Mile Oval.
Too bad it's not closer. We could send Janice and Chris to that.
I'm picking Jeff Gordon. I don't see why he can't win 2 in a row. You're
Picking
right.
Jeff Gordon to go out with Janice, or I see.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I think his relationship is
Yeah, it went south.
pretty much
Bring it on.
You got the
went
divorce
into the
last
wall,
year.
you know.
Yeah.
On one of the turns.
Okay, now
Hey,
back
did you
to
see this? This isn't funny, but did you see that crash that Mario Andretti had?
no.
I did. I saw it. It was actually, it was pretty violent. I'm surprised he walked away relatively uninjured.
That was unbelievable. He must have been going, who knows, 200 miles an hour, and hit this debris on the track.
Yeah.
And the car just took off like an airplane. I mean, it exactly looked like an airplane, and then it flipped over 3 times and landed on the tires.
And he didn't even get hurt.
He walked away.
He's 63 years old, I think, right?
Yeah.
on
I mean, that
TV
was I've never seen anything like that where a car just took off like an airplane.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? When Jeff Bodine's truck went up against the fence and blew up. You remember that a couple of years ago? I think that was in Brooklyn.
Of course I remember that. I have it on tape.
Yeah, and Bodine got hurt, but he didn't get killed, so... What are we talking about here, Fred?
Does Fred have a joke?
Hey, you know how to tell if you're a redneck? If you go to a family reunion with your second wife and you still have the same in-laws.
I have a good one for Fred.
Okay.
It's a Middle East peace process joke.
Okay.
Fred went into a sex shop and bought himself a Palestinian inflatable doll.
Yeah.
He got it home and it blew itself up.
Not a better redneck joke. What's the last thing a redneck says before he dies?
I don't know.
Hey, y'all, watch this.
Oh, yeah.
31 after the hour.
Dang, 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 ding, dong, ding, blue moon, moon, blue moon, dip, 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 moon, moon, blue moon, dip, 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 moon, moon, blue moon, dip, 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 bomb, 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 dang, 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 ding, dong, blue moon. You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
Dang, 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 ding, dong, ding.
Imus in the morning.
Buy your next car.
Bell of the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by Oral-B 3D XL toothbrush that rotates and vibrates, which probably Janice probably has 5 of them.
Got her attention.
Yeah. The market's been open for about 6 minutes, and the Dow's down, it's flopping around, down $5 or $6, no big deal.
Okay.
Excuse me, NASDAQ down 5. All right, please welcome now from the New York Post, their television and maybe theater critic, Linda Stassi. Good morning, Miss Stassi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Guess what I'm drinking? Imus Brothers coffee.
Oh, you are?
I am.
Do you like it?
Well, I like it, except that I made it, so that's the problem.
Well, you did a good thing because we give all of the profits from the sale of that stuff to the Imus Cattle Ranch for Kids with Cancer. In fact, last year we generated $251,000.
That's fabulous.
Now, my son and my wife and I have been looking forward to Eloise at the Plaza. We're not big television fans, but he's grown up, and he's going to be 5 years old here pretty soon. We've read him all of the stories, and we live about 5 blocks from the Plaza. And then I read your review this morning.
Oh, it's painful. Painful.
It's
like being stuck next to one of those terrible kids in a restaurant that screams and jumps on the chairs.
Right.
Horrible. I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's they got the wrong kid. Maybe it's the script is horrible. It's like people wrote it who never met a kid in their life. It's horrible. It's painful. The kid is nasty and bratty, and she's not charming. There's no charm in the whole thing. It's really it's awful. I was hoping somebody would come in and kill me so I could be rescued. It was horrible. Anything was better than that.
Well, you gave it absolutely no stars.
Absolutely. I was trying to give it minus stars, but I figured it was going overboard. It really was a stinkeroo. Oof.
Well, where did they go wrong? I mean, other than what you just said.
Well, first of all, they didn't use any of the Eloise stories. They just used the character. And didn't you always think Eloise had black hair?
Yes.
No, well, she has blonde hair in this, and she just looks like she has dirty. Her hair looks dirty. It doesn't look, how Eloise up straight stick hair. Anyway, they made up a story. They didn't go with the original books of any kind. They made up this stupid story, and it's supposed to be 1955, and they're driving past Times Square with all the digital signs and a big plug for AIDA, which is the Disney, and it's a wonderful world of Disney. So they gave it some nice product plugs in there, and it's supposed to be 1955, and there's all this modern stuff all around. The story stinks. I mean, the kid is like there's a lonely prince and a lonely debutante in this.
And her mother's in none of the books. She shows up in this, right?
Her mother what? I didn't hear what you said.
We never see her mother in any of the books.
No, her mother shows up at the end in a big hat. You don't see her face. And Nanny is like she's like drunk all the time or something. I don't know, she walks like she's got a rash and she's drunk and she never knows where the kid is. And she's not drunk, but she's always sipping a beer or a martini or something. I know she sipped beer in the book, but this, I don't know, just awful. Poor Julie Andrews.
Yeah, Nanny's played by Julie Andrews, so.
There's nothing about it that's worthy.
Well, I told my son this morning, I said, I just read the review, honey, in the New York Post and the New York Times.
jobs away from men. Why does the guy have to continue to open the door for you, romance you, when at the end of the day, all you're going to do is try to take his job anyway, stick him in the back, and when you don't get his job, you're going to start bitching and complaining to Martha Burke and the rest of these women. And now, I mean, you guys want everything. You want our money, you want our jobs, and you want us to bend over and be courteous to you. It's not going to happen. Come in with a little lingerie on, grab the kid in the butt, and do what you got to do.
What has happened to you?
Oh,
there's a romantic over there.
Morning.
Well, it's just you.
Chris can learn from you.
Well, that solves that.
That's great.
We'll talk to Tom Rose from the Jerusalem Post coming up.
Your cheating heart will make you weep. You'll cry and cry and try to sleep, but sleep won't come the whole night through. Your cheating heart will tell on you.
Imus in the morning.
All right, the Oral B3DX
is of Iraqi and Bullwinkle. This week's episode, pick a card, any card, or calling a spade a spade. When we last left Moshe and Saddam, they were attempting to adjust to their regime change.
Hey, Iraqi, do you have two anarchies for one dictatorship?
And now, still holed up in their secret bunker somewhere in the desert, they while away the hours engaged in self-flagellation.
Hey, Iraqi, you keep doing that, you might go blind.
No, you're talking about self-abuse, Bullwinkle.
Oh, well, it certainly feels a lot better than beating yourself over the head with a Harley chain.
Oh, I do not deserve to feel good, Bullwinkle. I have failed my country. I have failed myself. I have failed Allah.
Yeah, well, as long as you got your health.
Infidel, do you not see this is the end? All is lost. Is nothing left but despair and lamentation. I am ashamed of my existence.
Hey, turn that frown upside down. I got something that'll bring a smile to your evil face. Check these out.
Wow, what are those?
Iraqi's most wanted playing cards. The Deck of Death.
The Deck of Death?
Yep, a high-quality deck of real coated playing cards with rounded edges, each one featuring the name and file photo of every one of the 55 key regime leaders that coalition officials intend to pursue, kill, or capture.
Oh, boy, that is some cool-ass deck.
And not only are they playing cards, each one is its own collectible, suitable for trading.
Oh, let me see.
Say hello to the king of clubs, Isab Ibrahim Al-Duri, the vice chairman of the RCC.
Yuck, I have seen better heads on boils.
How about this little cutie, Boss Party regional member, Huda Salih Madi Amash?
She is beauty. Nice facial hair.
Hey, Iraqi, I'll trade you two Muhammad Madi Al-Salihs for one Hassan Muhammad Al-Yassin.
Bullwinkle, where am I in deck?
The Ace of Spades.
What an honor. I do not deserve.
Come on, you gloomy Gus. Let's play a game. Got any sixes?
I do not wish to play, Bullwinkle.
Come on, Iraqi. If you don't have the card, you have to say, go fish. Let's try again. Got any nines?
Go yourself.
Imus in the morning.
If you or someone close to you...
Please. Since there's all these new tunes going on my country album, got to test them out here this morning. So I just talked to Sid Rosenberg is here, and what happened last night in the basketball first?
Last night in the basketball, the Lakers beat Minnesota. They're 2-2 now.
Just give us the outcomes.
Boston beat Indiana. San Antonio lost to Phoenix. And Dallas lost to Portland.
What happened in hockey?
Hockey last night, the Ducks, don't know. I had no idea what happened in hockey last night. I got to be honest with you.
Right.
Not a clue.
Oh, the Ducks, what's their deal?
The Ducks at last look were up 2-0 on Detroit. I believe they play game 3 in Anaheim tonight if they didn't play last night.
And the Devils take on Tampa Bay tonight.
And they are also up 2-0.
Philadelphia, Ottawa 1-1.
Oh, that's right. Philly won last night, even up that series at 1 game apiece. Thank you, Lou.
In baseball, in the American League, Orioles over Tampa Bay, White Sox beat Minnesota, Toronto over Kansas City, Seattle beat Detroit, Texas over the Yankees, Oakland beat Cleveland, and in 14 innings, Red Sox whooped up on Anaheim. In the National League, the hideous, hopeless, stupid, can't suck enough ugly uniform-wearing Mets lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks. 2 games. They played and they lost them both.
Right.
Houston beat Montreal Phillies over the Giants. Atlanta beat Milwaukee Reds, defeated the Padres. Los Angeles Dodgers 6, Pittsburgh 2. Colorado Rockies 6-3 over Chicago. And in 20 innings, the Cardinals edged the Florida Marlins 7-6. 6.
And, of course, the big story there is that in that Philly-Giant game, by the way, man, the Phillies beat the Giants 1-0 yesterday, and former Atlanta Brave pitcher Kevin Millwood pitched a no-hitter for the Phillies yesterday.
And Anna Nicole Smith has been named, apparently, the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
So it appears.
Bill Parcells, I think he and I are the same age. Or maybe a year or two older, or whatever. But for whatever reason, he dyed his hair blonde.
Looks terrible.
And he's gained 100 pounds.
Easy. I didn't even recognize him when I first saw him on Saturday morning.
He is so fat, and it's not funny fat. It's
serious fat.
It's health fat. Health issue
and
fat.
he's had heart problems before. You know that, Bill Parcells.
And he's going to be down there screaming at all those guys at 100-degree temperature in Dallas.
Exactly. He's going to drop. There's no question about it.
Fighting with Jerry Jones.
Right.
Yeah. All stressed out. And finally, I spoke with Janice Dean about Chris Carlin, and she said that is it fair to say you are attracted to him at some level?
Sure.
Oh, you're I don't want to be mean, Janice, but I'm not going to be that. I mean, we got to start cooperating here, if you understand what I'm saying. Sort of. I mean, let's just not quite be so.
Well, give it up, bitch. Is that what you're trying to say?
Pretty much.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't use that kind of language.
That's what it sounds like.
No, what I'm saying,
just trying to be blunt. I'm just trying to keep it real. That sounds like what the Iron Man's
What I'm saying, Janice, is the knight on the white horse is not going to come riding in. It's Chris. That's basically going to be.
That's the best I can do.
Well, that's not bad though.
That's just the white horse coming in without the knight.
No, Chris.
That horse is going to look like Rosinante from Don Quixote if Chris is riding.
Chris could lose some weight. But on the other hand, he's a nice looking guy.
Okay, I have this question. If you were me,
right,
Mr. Imus, would you go out with Chris Carlin?
In a heartbeat.
Would
Absolutely.
you sleep with him?
A free dinner.
Well, I don't know. I mean, why can't we just have a relationship and see what happens?
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to find out.
Just see how drunk you can get. And
he doesn't roll over.
How much coke you can do, and they'll do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Imus in the morning.
800 USA Life makes it easiest for you to donate your car, truck, boat, art, and real estate to the charitable cause of your choice. Yes,
including going to the gym, including eating the stuff that Walter gave me. I mean, just this, so you can do it. It's like Fear Factor eating dead worms. Mm-hmm. And I have to walk in the radio station. We're having it tested today by the Omega Environment people. I'll be here at 8 o'clock with their equipment.
All right. Let's get it on.
And I've got to walk in a doorway with a fat pig standing there smoking a cigarette.
Outrageous.
Now, wait a second. Fat pig?
Yeah.
Well, now, wait, we
went
from
listening to the radio with the little kids right now?
We went from the fat girl.
Yeah.
Now we went right to the fat pig.
Well, that was unfortunate.
That's not good.
It's because I lost my temper. I apologize for that.
Because you were actually about to express some concern for her well-being.
The radio station general manager, the jugger Lee Davis, is just spineless and won't do anything about it. And Chernoff is a gutless little worm and won't do it. He's back in his office on the phone with his grandkids.
Yeah.
And who knows what else he's doing.
Jello spine.
The Jello spine, weak-kneed, cowardly program director, and an equally gutless, jug-eared general manager who won't enforce basic, fundamental rules here at the radio station.
Hat hook head.
Why do I have to walk in after I've just come back from the gym, got my lungs all open up, and there's some fat sow there sucking on a cigarette?
Fat sow. Fat girl, fat pig, now fat now, or fat
Smoking
sow?
helps fat people keep the weight off, if that's any consolation.
How about not eating, you pig? How about doing that?
How about a fast?
How about passing up Domino's once in a while? How about ordering that salad at McDonald's?
Good morning,
Wait, just increasing the morale of the salespeople of fat, lazy morons, fat pigs upstairs.
Well,
that doesn't help too much.
Guess what's going to happen with the sales department if they don't get it done? They're not going to be here.
That's it.
We'll get somebody who can get it done.
This is the cane.
We don't need a bunch of people at Infinity with a bunch of stupid ideas.
Those days are over.
I bet it's still there.
Some cows at the door with a...
No, I mean, it was
smoking a stogie.
Want me at every
not
time.
only, and then she looked at me and said, well, you caught me, but then doesn't get out of the way.
Oh, my God.
Did you offer your smoke?
I had to wedge myself past the hoe just to get in the door.
Damn. Well, I gotta be a hoe.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Obesity is a big problem in this country today, man. You know that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Specifically at this radio station.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I'll tell you who else is fat. Want to see who's fat? Page 23 of today's New York Post. Take a look at Jack Nicholson's son. His 11-year-old son, fat little Raymond Nicholson.
Oh, don't pick on that kid.
I'll take a look at that, though.
Well...
You tell me if he's fat or not. I don't want to pick on the kid, but is that kid fat or not? I mean, you're a little nicer about the way you express yourself, so maybe you won't call him fat. What do you think?
How about the fat Osborne kid? Now he's in rehab.
Yeah, he's in rehab. Jack Osborne, yeah.
In rehab for what?
Either alcohol or drugs or both.
Bats.
There you go.
Oh, well, he's a cute kid. Let him alone.
Oh, come on. The girl upstairs who was smoking is a fat pig, so, and this kid's a cute kid?
Well, he's 11 years old.
Green-haired, foul-mouthed freak. Now he's in rehab at 17. Good job, Oz.
Yeah. Good job out of his parents, but what do you expect? I mean, his father's a raging drug addict and alcoholic. What do you expect? The kid has no chance. I feel terrible for the kid.
Living in that house?
Yeah, come on. Did you know, by the way, that did you know that Brooke Shields' father was on the Davis Cup team and played at Wimbledon? Did you know that?
No.
Well, that wouldn't be right. It's her grandfather, actually. Her father died yesterday, though. Frank Shields, at 61, died yesterday.
Jeez.
Isn't that terrible? Yeah, it's a terrible story. Yeah.
What's the matter with them?
I think his heart stopped, to be quite frank.
Eventually, probably did.
You got to do a fight with a fat girl.
He had cancer.
Killed him.
A long battle with cancer.
Yeah.
What?
A lengthy battle with cancer.
Oh, okay, thanks.
I think her heart's Dr. Rosenberg. I think her heart's stopped.
Other than picking on Jack's fat kid, do you have any other sports?
Well, yeah. I mean, tonight Roger Clemens looks for win number 298, and it's a big deal with the Yankees and Mariners tonight because you've got maybe the two best Japanese players on stage. Hideki Matsui for the Yankees and Ichiro Suzuki for the Mariners.
Right.
Isn't that exciting? We talk about the internationalism of Major League Baseball.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's the biggest baseball story tonight.
That's great.
NBA playoffs are back tonight. The Nets and Bucks will play Game 5, and the Lakers and Timberwolves will play Game 5 in what's been a terrific series, maybe the best series of all the NBA playoffs. And last night, a couple of teams distanced
I found
themselves.
myself actually rooting for the Nets.
Oh, you are rooting for the Nets now?
Yes.
Damn right.
Yeah, but if the Nets were to play the Lakers in the NBA Finals, you would no longer
Whatever.
root for the Nets.
I've been rooting for them now.
Yeah, well, so have I. Listen, they're a local team. We're here in the New York area, so why wouldn't you root for the Nets?
But, I mean, Jason Kidd, the other night, missed another shot.
Well, yeah, but he had a terrific game. They missed some free throws down the stretch in overtime. I mean, you
Could
really
have won the game. He banged it off the rim again.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to blame the New Orleans Hornets loss last night on Jason Kidd also? I mean, what do you want from the guy? The guy's been the best player on the Nets you've ever seen.
Hit the shots down the stretch.
Come on, the guy's not the only guy shooting.
He can't get it done when it counts.
Patrick Ewing syndrome.
He's not Michael Jordan. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't, but he's not Reggie Miller even.
Well, Reggie Miller is a guy that has been clutch as anybody. I'll agree with that.
It's not even Mike Bibby.
Well, I don't know about that. Mike Bibby had one decent playoff series last year against the Lakers.
It's disappointing. He comes up for that last shot and he can't get it in.
Well,
he shouldn't be shooting it.
It's not like the Nets have a lot of other guys that can shoot it. That's the problem I'm in.
But they've got 4 other guys. Let one of them try it. Because he's demonstrated that he can't get it done.
He's not Michael Jordan. You're right about that. But that's why Michael Jordan...
He's not a number of people.
Well,
he's not John, whatever his name was.
Starks.
John Starks.
John Starks. Wow. Let me remind you, Game 7, Knicks-Houston Rockets, 1994 NBA Finals. John Starks couldn't hit the ocean from the beach.
Well,
you may remember that.
Okay,
or maybe you don't.
He is John Starks.
That's right. There you go.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
3 for 25.
Billy remembers last night's game.
Game 7 of the NBA Finals, though. It was a night after the whole OJ thing.
I never turned to television. In fact, I had to call Charles last night to ask him what news was going on. I never turned the television on.
Were you not watching the Knicks-Rockets series back in '94 when the O.J. Simpson, when A.C. Cowling's car started traveling down?
Yes, I did see that.
Okay, so you were watching the Knicks-Rockets?
Yeah, I guess I was.
Yeah, that was Game 6.
Whatever.
Or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, one of those games, yeah.
Memories.
Always nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, this is the Grim Reaper. I know. I probably don't sound like what you expected, right?
Of course. So David Juris bid $4,000 or $5,000 and won.
Good.
Then this woman comes up to me and says, this couple will match the bid if you and Deirdre will have dinner with them.
Yeah.
I said, oh, no, they won't.
Not while I'm around.
It was $4,000 he bid for the sports, so I gave him $5,000 so I wouldn't have to have dinner with these people. So I sent the check over the next day. I couldn't get it over there quick enough. And Sid took it over on a bicycle. So David will be in to do sports with you, Sid.
And I'm looking forward to that. Is he going to do the scrum reports with Janice also, or just limited to sports?
Probably just sports.
Okay, all right. It's going to be fun. Hopefully there'll be plenty of stories about athletes getting arrested and homosexuals and bestiality and the rest of that stuff.
What you want to do is help David prepare the sportscast, and then as he does them, critique him.
Right.
So if he doesn't have enough energy, or if he, or whatever,
Well,
or if he,
offer him guidance and
or
help
if he
him.
doesn't know, you may question him on a couple of issues. If he doesn't know, I had to have his facts straight about who's who or what's what. Or
Hey Sid, where's my wallet?
like if he doesn't know which Japanese player plays for the Yankees and which one plays for Seattle.
That's a problem.
Which I could maybe tell you. It's Ichiku plays for Seattle, right?
That's right. Very good, Ichiku. Yeah.
And Matsui plays for.
Exactly right.
How'd they do last night?
Nothing. Mariners shut out the Yankees 6-0, and those two guys combined to go 2 for 9. Very uneventful evening for the Japanese last night. Very uneventful.
Okay, well.
So is my job to try to get jurists into trouble, or just?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, of course.
Give him made-up story. That's all.
Just to make it an unpleasant morning for him.
Drag him down to your level.
So that's possible.
Those players were arrested, really?
20 minutes out there.
This is a top to what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11.
Most of
11 and
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? You see, most blokes, be playing at 10
Yeah.
all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere. Exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff,
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Imus in the morning.
Hello, we're here at Office Depot with set.
Yes, it has.
Over a month ago.
Really?
Yeah, we had that time when the sun is here and it passes there and goes to the thing. Right.
Well, you made it through the winter, didn't you? Are you noticing any hesitation or flipping or grinding in your transmission in your car? What kind of car are you driving? A 48 Packard? Now's a great time to take your car to one of the 53 AMCO locations in the tri-state area. AMCO's certified technicians are the transmission experts. And if you had heart problems, you wouldn't go see your family doctor, would you? Well, you might, but he would hook you up with a specialist, one would hope. So if your car has a transmission problem, why would you take it to your general mechanic? Well, I guess you probably wouldn't. With 40 years of experience and over 20 million
Okay.
Then we're going to talk with Bill Maher, who opened on Broadway last night. And, of course, Charles and I have a special affection for Mr. Maher because, well, we know his father and him.
Despite his years of being a Clinton apologist.
Yes.
Yeah, we're willing
Personal
to
affection outweighs that.
We're willing to overlook that.
We're willing to overlook all of that, like we do with Begala.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bill's Broadway show is based on the book he had, which was a bestseller. When you ride alone, you ride with bin Laden. What the government should be telling us to help fight the war on terrorism. So, I don't think this is quite at the level of Lenny Bruce reading court transcripts at the bitter end, but I hope.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if it's been read. Is it reviewed in any of the papers? When I couldn't find anything.
No, it doesn't officially open until May 5th. It opened last night, but officially May 5th.
Oh, the official opening is May 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's got a show on HBO and all that. So this whole thing will work out for him. What's going on with you, Janice?
Occasionally, I get letters in the mail from young suitors who would like to date me. And this morning, I got a letter, and the fellow included...
Don't be throwing any of those out, Janice.
No, file those.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the fellow that wrote me, and it was a very nice letter,
Sure.
included his pay stub. Do I look like a money-grabbing gold digger?
Yes.
Are you a woman?
Yeah.
Come on. You don't have to
pay
impress me
stub.
with a paycheck.
How much does he make?
He makes a good living.
You were laughing
He's a big
so
Imus
hard.
fan, too.
Well, how much?
You know, he doesn't make 6 figures, but, he makes an okay living.
How could it be an okay living if he doesn't make 6 figures? What does he make?
I don't make six figures.
Because he still lives at home with his mother.
Means no dating for him.
like the rest of the guys in the newsroom.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. What's your advice on these things, Mr. Imus? Should I date some of these people who write me letters?
No.
Okay.
No, you should call Bo Dietl.
Immediately.
No, you shouldn't. Of course not.
That's how Carlin's doing it now. He's sending her
No,
mail.
because you'll wind up in the refrigerator.
That's right.
In little baggies. No. Oh God. Oh no, you don't. No.
That's pleasant.
No.
No dates to be in chopped up.
You'll wind up a ward of this fellow, the retired handyman accused of holding at least 5 women as sex slaves in a bunker in Syracuse, New York.
Wow. What does he make?
29 up the hour.
Doing okay.
Imus in the morning.
If you or someone close to you has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, you should know about the Smart Seed HDR treatment.
Right. And the new 17-inch Apple G4, you know.
That's too
Damn
good.
right you got that.
It's too cool. It's too cool. Yeah, man.
So I can't get it to scare me that was doing stuff.
Well, I can't tell
Maybe
you.
it's too close to other electronic stuff. Could that be the case?
No.
Oh, it couldn't?
No.
Well, then there's something wrong with it. All right. Anyway, 34 minutes past the hour. We're already running behind here because we're just so disorganized.
Right.
And just you can't get on there. Just can't get it together.
Having computer glitches and everything else.
Yes.
Come on.
Anyway, please welcome now from CBS News in 60 Minutes, our old friend Leslie Stahl. Good morning, Miss Stahl.
Good morning, Mr. Imus. How are you?
John Hewitt, who's...
The brutality.
2 minutes till the hour, Lou.
Imus in the morning.
Great.
Plenty others.
What's wrong with
whose names, escape me, but
don't we have any at MSNBC?
it's inconsequential what their names are. At MSNBC, we have Christy Musumeci, the beautiful Natalie Morales.
Oh, please.
Oh, fantastic.
Dear heavenly days.
Yeah, well.
I mean, there's no need to watch American Idol or any of those stupid shows.
Right.
You can watch cable news, look at beautiful women, and become informed.
You are really just a degenerate Neanderthal. God, what a moron.
You just got to clean the ceiling at the end of the night, that's all.
Oh, shut up. Fred Dicker's coming up. He's a state editor of the New York Post. It's time for the World National News, sponsored by Cross Pins, the official pin, of course, of the Imus in the Morning program. And Bill Clinton apologizing for his screaming, screeching wife. Do you have that cut, Lou?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Oh,
This is really just... Oh, God. What do you think that... I mean, who told her, Senator Clinton? Of course, speaking... I mean, we just know that she's just dreadfully...
Got it.
She's showing her true colors.
I can't even think of a way to describe her. I mean, this is a woman who couldn't remember anything when she was ever asked a question about any investigation they ever conducted into her affairs, and now has suddenly written a book that nobody wants to excerpt, by the way, because there's nothing in it. It's just, they poor old David Rosenthal and those other morons over there, Simon & Schuster, got their chain jerked with a dreadful book.
Maybe she's...
Here she is up in Connecticut the other day. Check this out.
I am sick and tired of people who say that if you debate and you disagree with this administration, somehow you're not patriotic, and we should stand up and say we are Americans and we have a right to debate and disagree with any administration.
Oh, my God.
Big-time shrinkage going on.
Oh, my God.
I mean, now I'm more convinced than ever that Vince Foster did commit suicide. No question. That seals it. Forget the conspiracy theories.
I don't think we have to bring up poor old Vince's name here.
He saw the light.
Bernard is right. That resolves the mystery.
It's
right
over.
there.
Oh, God almighty. What a... It's just,
Vince Foster was murdered? I don't think so.
You really begin to get it. I mean, you certainly can't excuse the behavior of the president.
Yes,
Clinton,
you can.
Yeah. He did what he had to do. It's a wonder he didn't, Lacey Peterson, the woman.
Oh, no.
I mean,
No, I don't know what you mean.
No.
God
We'll play the
almighty.
tape again. I mean, you might sink in.
Here's Here's Charles with the news. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning, I-Man. In the headlines, Turkey's prime minister is confirming that at least 84 people have been killed in a strong earthquake that hit the southeastern part of the country during the night. Nearly 400 others were hurt in the magnitude 6.4 quake. Rescuers are searching frantically for survivors because dozens of children are believed to be trapped in the rubble of a school dormitory whose floors pancaked when the quake hit. Dozens have been rescued at this site, but 5 students and a teacher from the school have also already been found dead. The earthquake was centered about 400 miles to the east of Ankara, just outside the city of Bingöl. At least 25 buildings and a bridge collapsed in the city's center. A hospital was seriously damaged. Scores of injured are being treated outside as a result. And the hospital chief doctor says there is a need for, as he put it, every kind of help. Tensions have escalated once again in an Iraqi town that has been the focus of tension a day after U.S. troops fired for a second time on demonstrators there. Attackers lobbed 2 grenades over a wall.
Got to land it.
Well, yeah, clearly he's a wuss, right?
Well, how do you land it? I mean, if you've never done carrier landings, it's the most difficult thing that we could call all our pilots to do. Land on a carrier.
He's got to show some guts.
Oh, come on.
Well,
step up.
I think he's got to step up.
That's silly.
I still think it's pretty good. You know?
It's great.
As they're out goofing around, he'll probably take the controls of the aircraft. It wouldn't be surprised at all. In fact, he said as much himself that he might.
I love the guy, but he really is a dope, isn't he? I mean, he's just got to stop doing stuff like this. This is crazy.
Well, the Secret Service was described as not exactly thrilled. That's a quote by Mr. Bush's choice for arrival aboard the Lincoln rather than, to go by chopper or something. But they say at the time that the aircraft carrier will be over 100 miles out at sea, and that gets into a theoretical range problem for the president's helicopter. Well, why don't they just wait till it gets a little closer then?
12 minutes after the hour here on the Imus in the Morning program. Right here now on the Imus in the Morning program, the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton.
My fellow Americans, after some 10-odd years of her being in your face, day in and day out to some extent or the other, I would finally like to take this opportunity to apologize for my wife. After hearing the soundbite on the Imus in the Morning program the other day of her at a recent Democratic fundraiser, I decided that too much time has gone by without my formally acknowledging what an incredibly annoying, shrieking battle axe she is. In a weird way, I'm glad the I-Man aired that soundbite, because I feel that everyone who heard that shrew caterwauling like an alley cat with gasoline poured on its shaved butt will finally understand why I had to resort to getting Hummers from fat interns. I would also like to formally apologize in advance for the title of Hillary's new book, Living History, because I believe that the context can be somewhat confusing. It certainly may be interpreted as Hillary's perspective on the historical events surrounding her days living in the White House, as in living through history. However, it's my opinion that this is not the case, because this girl's got an ego on her almost as big as her ass. The title is intended to be taken as a proper noun, as in Hillary Clinton Living History.
Yeah.
For living history is indeed how my wife views herself, like she's some kind of national monument, which on one level is not all that unfair a comparison, because she is about as hard and cold as one. I'm telling you, that bust of Teddy Roosevelt on Mount Rushmore is warmer in bed than that woman. And to be honest with you, I'd much rather bump my private parts against Teddy's granite nostril, because one, that hunk of rock would be more responsive, and two, it wouldn't be flapping its big fat yap while you were having sex with it. And so, America, in short, I'd like y'all to know that I am heartily sorry for foisting this hellacious harpy on you for the past decade or so. However, I am hopeful that someday I will be able to finally rectify the situation and bring about the result that I have been praying for since, about 5 minutes after we were married. That the woman who considers herself living history will one day be history.
I am sick and tired of people who say that if you debate and you disagree with this administration, somehow you're not patriotic, and we should stand up and say, we are Americans, and we are... Meow, 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 meow.
Hi, this is Larry King. Have you heard the good news about Welch's 100% grape juice? It not only tastes great, it may help promote healthy, wide...
On the radio and back on MSNBC on Monday. which means I have to come back to the studio, which is a teeming cesspool of toxins with visible mold dripping off the fixtures.
Should be on the Superfund site.
But I am, I can't refuse to come to work. I mean, nor would I. But,
well.
Nor would I, by the way, sue the company because I just wouldn't. But but they do have to fix it, so which I'm sure they will.
Or else so.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
Why wouldn't I? Well, I wouldn't because of Mel. That's why I wouldn't. So, whatever. I don't think, and plus I don't think it's necessary. So, at this point. You, Charles?
Sick building syndrome is what we got here, man.
I mean, I just like to call David Boyce to see if I can get through. I like talking to Mike Glenn. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
No, I'm just thinking about that stuff that's in them.
It's awful, isn't it? Oh. Speaking of that, here's Sid Rosenberg. Morning, Sid.
Hey, I'm in. Getting close to the Kentucky Derby, 129th.
George Allen, apparently not a big fan of yours.
Of me?
Senator George Allen.
Well, I heard him. He didn't exactly say that. He wasn't.
What did he say? He said he missed Warner Wolf. I said, well, we have Norm Coleman's cousin, Sid Rosenberg, on. And he said, let me just say I miss Warner Wolf.
It was as brutal as you could get.
First of all,
from a polite senator.
First of all, no disrespect to the young George Allen, because his father was a great man, and George is a nice kid. But you may remember how Warner sucked up to his father. And George Allen even mentioned, when his father was put in the Hall of Fame this year, deservedly so, and George Allen even mentioned Warner Wolf in the speech at the Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So the fact that he misses Warner Wolf, who sucked up to his father for 100 years in D.C., doesn't surprise me. That's not indicative of anything. Warner Wolf is he's been the Allen's butt boy for 40 years.
Oh my You're God. A bitter Jew.
Yes, I am. You're right. No question about it.
Come on.
Yeah. But the Derby is coming up, my man. You want the 4 horses that right now are less than 10 to 1?
No.
Okay, great.
Who's going to win it? Well, Mike Francesa will be in the Power Hour. I don't know when. Friday morning. Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Which is good. It's the day before the race. That's a
Francesa's not an idiot, Bernard.
No.
Yeah, Saturday at 4 o'clock.
And I'm sure he'll pick the winner as he's done in the past.
Yeah. Now, I pointed out to Mike yesterday when I saw him that he had lost $90,000 last year, and he reminded me of the year before when he won about $100,000. So
for who?
For the ranch.
Oh, hell, you're 10 to the good.
Well, no. He didn't lose any. See, that's the point. He won almost $100,000 for the ranch, and last year we just didn't get the money. But the National Thoroughbred Racing Association, they donated money anyway. So even though Mike didn't have a great day that day at the races, nevertheless we still came out ahead. So and it wasn't we didn't take ranch money out of the ranch account and bet it on the ponies.
Understood.
So Mike didn't technically lose anything.
Oh,
just had a bad day at the races.
Where'd the $90,000 go?
Right.
I like the way I like the verbiage used for all this. He had a bad day at the races.
Well,
he had a tragic day at the races, huh, man?
Well,
90,000. Come on.
But we didn't lose any money.
No.
We just didn't win any.
What happened to $90,000? I'm missing something.
No, it wasn't our money, Charles.
I understand, but it's
we were
somewhere
playing with
$90,000 was in play somehow.
Somehow
what happened
kids
to
with cancer got screwed out of a whole lot of.
No, they didn't. No.
He's no better than Leslie Stahl.
Or Ashley Banfield.
That's disgraceful. You should be horsewhipped.
Tariq Aziz.
He's going to make up for it, though, this year. I know Mike's got the winner. I know he does.
Right, well, based on his performance during March Madness, he's back on his game.
Well,
right?
One day out.
Why do we have to
had
that ugliness?
Fortunately, Memphis is not running in the Kentucky Derby.
Hey, look out, Mikey!
He's my dark horse, dog. Memphis, the 8th seed.
There's Janice Dean. What's going on in your world, Janice?
A new reality show featuring stars.
Hey, Janice, by the way, we're back on MSNBC on Monday, so maybe you can stop coming in looking like a washerwoman.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
That's terrible. Do I really look that bad?
Oh, please.
It's been nice not having to wear makeup and wearing my pajamas in.
Let's start getting up around midnight.
Shut up, Bernard.
Like you used to.
Really? You need to go to whatever the equivalent these days to Earl Scheib and
Oh,
you know.
that's awful.
Right, in this
get a
room.
frame off. You need to go to Jesse James out on the West Coast. You know, the guy who customizes motorcycles.
He's a
Sounds like
genius.
he's going to shoot me.
He is
Get a frame off deal, frame off restoration situation. going
Monster
on here.
Garage, baby.
Yeah.
And like I work in a newsroom full of beauty queens, too.
Well, whatever.
A new reality show featuring stars doing real jobs for a day while regular people get treated like stars is going to be piloting on NBC.
I'm so sick of these.
They're never going to be an end.
Dude.
Actress, dancer Carmen Electra will be a nanny for small children. So of course,
You know, I kind of like. I like Simon. What's his name on American Idol?
He's great. He's very funny.
I like big old fat Randy Johnson, the record company guy.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Jackson, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And I really hate to admit this, and I realize she's just as transparent and phony as. But Paula Abdul, there's something kind of sweet about her.
I hear that she's got a lot of stuff up her nose to do that show.
What do you mean a lot of stuff up her nose? You mean cocaine?
Oh, call it what you want.
I'm not saying.
Really?
Yeah, she doesn't like cocaine.
That's what I hear. No, that's what I hear.
Well, that's a vicious, hideous,
okay, it's just
idiotic
a rumor.
Where did you hear that?
She's a ding-a-ling.
You can't say.
Oh, no, I can't say. I do have a reliable source.